Lost my internet.
There we go. So we're recording and live on YouTube. So Kevin Stansfield, I'll hand over to you. So Action Coach. So welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Great to be here, and with a lovely audience. Hopefully, can't see a lot of you guys on YouTube, but I hope you're all sitting comfortably and ready to sort of crack on with focusing on team. Today's sort of topic is really about motivation. How do we get the best out of ourselves? How do we get the best out of our teams? With a little bit of a sort of a final bit on millennials. A lot of us are actually employing millennials now. Millennials are moving up into that area of management. And so if you are a millennial on this call or you're managing millennials, then hopefully a lot of what we talk about will relate to you guys big time. So before I sort of start, I'd like to give a bit of background myself. I'm part of the world's #1 coaching organisation, Action Coach. I've been coaching now for some 15 years. I've just finished my 3rd book, which is called The Great Game. So if you're into golf and business as well, then that book will be really good for you. The Big Dipper is about the journey that we're all on, actually growing our businesses. And Profit Builders is really looking at what I think are some of the 11 best ways to actually improve your profits within your business. And I've been working with business owners for some 25, since I was 20 years old. So I was previously a chartered accountant, went into practice, into industry, and been coaching for the past 15 years. And a big part of that has been helping my clients build teams that really work for them, to allow them to have the time to actually continue to grow the business. So what we call this working on the business rather than working in it. So team engagement, a real key topic at the moment, certainly has been in the last 12 months, especially around when COVID hit. So this whole hybrid working from home, working in the office, remote workers, but even in factories, where people are actually there day in, day out, it's really, really key to understand how do we get the best out of people? How do we get people engaged in the work so that we get the most out of them? And from that to keep them, because I don't know if a lot of people are finding, certainly at the moment, that recruitment is really tough. It was in the news today about certainly people being off on being pinged and being off on sort of COVID related matters. But since Brexit, a lot of people have sort of left the country that were in the more sort of delivery jobs, and it's tough. Finding good people is hard. Therefore, we've got to focus on really getting more out of the ones that we've got, and then keeping them happy, keeping them engaged, so that they actually stay longer. So a key part to this for me is about motivation. Engagement. If we've got motivated people, then they're generally engaged, and they are going to sort of stay with us. So studies in this sort of go back to I think when I was sort of in industry, we had an organisation that employed 400 people. And when you sort of looked around the people in there, you probably had that 80-20, that 20% of people seemed to be motivated, 80% were, probably there because it was paying the bills, but not much more than that. So the first question to ask yourself is, how do you know when you're motivated? How do you know when you're not motivated? What are some of those key things that sort of jump out at you? Because if you can understand it in yourself, then you'll actually start to see it with the people around you. And there are cues. I mean, obviously the picture there is a pretty sort of severe one. But if you think about it, when you're not motivated, you're easily distracted. You're missing deadlines. There's normal subtle things that you're actually sort of spotting before that are precursors to actually major issues that you have. So really sort of to understand other people, understand yourself, is to sort of make a list of all of those things that happen when you're demotivated. You know, you get up in the morning and, you know, you're not rushing to work, easily distracted, you know, you're not giving your best, your results are not as good as they could be. And there are generally signs for yourself, but also with the teams, that you should be looking out for. And studies have shown that, you know, the impact of demotivated people on the company itself are pretty major. If staff turnover goes up, productivity goes down. You know, there's a lot of firefighting going on. People are, you know, sometimes very busy, but they're actually doing stuff that is really sort of, you know, difficult for them. Reputation of the company goes down. You know, training costs, you're having to do, you know, to do that. Recruitment costs go up. So there's some major impacts that we have when we're finding that we've got demotivated people in the organisation. Likewise, if we have a motivated team, the opposite is true. You know, we find that, you know, productivity goes up, profitability goes up. It's a nicer place to actually work in. We have greater staff retention. You know, big savings on recruitment, absenteeism, sick, yeah, and it's generally a nicer place to work. And the interesting one, 51% less theft in a motivated team. You know, I think that's all. Don't really care about the organisation and nicking pens, paper, you know, whatever it might be. But motivated teams are sort of, you know, going to be less impact on that. So what we're really looking here is the difference between these. So with engagement with a motivated team, you know, we can be looking at a 20% improvement, but without it, we're around about 30% down. So as a variance here is potentially 50% differential within what we can actually get out of our existing workforce. So it's really important for us to take this seriously, to build it into our sort of HR plans, you know, and it's not just about training people on skills, it's really looking at why people are motivated, what's stopping them being motivated, and have a real clear strategy of how we overcome that. So I don't know if anyone of you read Tom Peters, you know, great author and speaker. You know, one of his quotes were, "Most employees are motivated, energetic, committed, enthusiastic, and loyal." You know, and inherently people are born this way. You know, you look at 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, that's what they are. They are, you know, energetic. You know, they love learning. They like trying new things. You know, they're waking up early. You know, they're full of life. So we're inherently built that way now. But what happens is, for a lot of organizations, the environment in which you're asking them to work is actually knocking that out of them. Because I'm assuming when you took them on, when you recruited them because they were these people. Otherwise, you know, you've got to look at your recruitment process. So, you know, this whole thing that we create environments that get the result that we get. And that's what we're really looking at here, is what can we do to actually change the environment, yeah, and actually help people to bring out their natural motivation. Because the key thing is, you can't motivate somebody. Yeah, they have to motivate themselves. All you can do is create the environment, the space for them to actually, you know, live their full motivated existence. So if we think about sort of motivation, why is it important? I have this little formula, you know, which is motivation times skill equals performance. And a lot of organizations, you know, are focused on the skill part. You know, we focus down here of training people, giving them more skill. But if we're not building up their motivation, then this skill level, you know, we could double it. If the motivation doesn't go up, our impact on performance is going to be minor. And sometimes, you know, if it's constant training and the skill goes up too high and we're not working on motivation, actually motivation goes down, because they say, I've got all of this skill, but you're not creating the space for me to actually use that skill, and therefore, you know, my performance is not going to be what it needs to be. So understanding then the psychology of what actually motivates people. You know, in the old days, you know, we sort of, certainly in my generation, we were brought up a little bit on this cat and the stick. You know, bring bonuses in. Bonuses motivate people. You know, drive them forwards. Or appraisals and disciplinaries to actually, show that if they don't perform, then there's consequences. And the problem with that for a lot of organisations is, we can't afford to lose the people we've got. They are highly skilled. Replacing them is tough. And if we just only have the one approach to actually, getting more out of them, which is bonuses and paying them more and rewarding them, then eventually that is going to wear thin, and studies have proven that it really just doesn't work after a certain point. So the old way was to force change, and I have a little thing called the formula for change. E times V plus F is greater than R. So R is our resistance. Everyone has a resistance to want to change. There's the first steps is the F, which is what do I need to do? The most important for this is the D and the V, the dissatisfaction and the vision. So the old way of working was, we build on the dissatisfaction by having a bigger stick. So we would drive people away from the pain of not doing something. Vision was the carrot, was, okay, well, if that's not working, then paint a bigger picture. And then the first steps is, okay, this is what we need to do. So that does work, but as I said, it is limiting, and certainly with more cognitive work, and certainly where you've got remote workers, where you can't sit there with a stick, and the carrots are not. It's harder to actually deliver that. Then this approach will run out, and we'll start to find troubles with it. What I want to do now is just do a little. Let me just need to make sure that the video settings. I don't know, Rachel, are you still on? Because I just want to make sure that the sound is.
Yes, I'm still here. I'm listening very carefully.
Excellent. So I'm going to play a little video. So I just want to make sure that you can hear the sound.
Yeah.
Before I go too far.
No sound at the moment.
Hear that?
No.
Okay. Right. Let me. There's a audio settings. Oh, I should have done this before. You're my first ones. Do you know where the button is to
Let me have a look. So, sound, speaker. You said audio.
This normally says when you play video, it would.
No. If you come out of there. I'm not a pro, and you on but at the bottom, where to the right of where you can press play, there's like a volume bit there. Make sure your volume shows.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Oh, okay.
There is a thing on Zoom that says. Let me
have a look on mine.
Oh, apologies, everybody. You do need the music for this.
So I'm sure it would be under audio in the settings.
Audio settings.
Sure where it is. Put it under advanced. I'm not sure where it is, Kevin.
I did it once and we forgot. Share screen.
I would guess that it would be. It's not giving you any options there, is it, for sound, other than in audio? What about microphone? Just one option.
It should be the same
Try
system.
it again.
Does that come through?
I can hear it, yes.
Yeah, okay.
might want to close down your
Yeah.
Yes, super.
That you can hear that now.
Yes, I can, yeah.
The stenches in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and grisly ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mere mortal can resist the evil of the foreigner.
I'm gonna stop that there. So let me find. I've lost my video. I've lost my view. Are you still there, Rachel?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I've lost all my pictures of everybody on the call, but as it's
yeah, so don't worry too much. Yeah,
that's okay. Cool. So that was a clip of some inmates at an Indonesian prison, so a high security prison. So you start to think about, look, these guys are not doing this because they're forced to do it. There's no carrot and stick. They're not being made to do this. They're not being paid to do this. You know, they've chosen to spend their time actually rehearsing, and working together to deliver something that, I'm not even sure that they were going to put it on YouTube. They just decided that's what they were going to do. So this is what we've got to start thinking about: is people are inherently, even people, people at sort of that level that don't need to do anything, we're inherently, we want to be motivated. It is the essence of human life. And when you boil that down, it comes back to this sort of balance of mind, body, and spirit. If we can work on improving our mind, improving our body, improving our spirit, then we will naturally become happier and, as a result, become motivated. So when we're thinking about motivating ourselves, but also motivating other people, it's these three factors that are fundamental. And the reason that it's these three things, and I've done a lot of research on this, and everything that I research always comes back to this, is it's the way our brains are wired. The way our brains have been formulated over the millennia that human beings have evolved, comes back to these three essential things. And the first one really is the body, which comes from our reptilian brain. So this is the part of the brain that we share with all other animals, and it's basically there to keep us alive. It's there to maintain the species. So it deals with our heart rate, it deals with our breathing, it deals with our movement. Okay, so we don't think about moving, we just move. It's our actions. So it's a very, very simple part of our brain. I mean, it's quite complicated, but there's not a lot of rational thought within this part of the brain. It just does. Then we've matured as a species, along with other primates, and we've grown what we call a limbic system. So this is our relationship brain. So this is our interconnection with other people. It deals with our communication skills and the fact that as animals we work better in a pack than we do on our own. We're not a sole creature like a crocodile, who is very much just driven by their reptilian brain. So we're very much a social species. And if we take that to the nth degree, this is our spirit, this is our interconnectedness with the people around us. And if you're into spiritualism, higher beings and everything there, we're looking for connectiveness and not just being on our own. And then bit that we have above all other animals is our neocortex. Okay, this is our thinking brain. So this is our mind. This is, I think, therefore I am. So mind, body, and spirit is basically just an overlay of the fact that we have a reptilian brain that likes to do things. We have a limbic system that is a connectiveness with other people, and a neocortex that likes to think and learn. So if we bring this back into the essence of human life, mind, body, and spirit, and we overlay this, and we can start to see that body is all about performance. Am I actually doing something that is actually achieving something? Okay, so because what happens is when I do that, the brain gives off chemicals such as dopamine and endorphins that keep us going, keep us motivated, and make us feel happy when we've actually achieved it. That runner, the long distance runner that crosses the line, that burst of dopamine that they get when they've achieved it, that goes back to our ancestors that used to go down with spears, and get food to keep their family alive. So spirit is our relationships, is the fact that we do this not just for ourselves but for other people, and our interconnectedness with others. And mind is our ability to learn and grow. So understanding this and applying it to ourselves, but also our team, then we start to think about, what is really going to motivate somebody. So within motivation, within performance, we need to have key performance indicators. We need to have goals and targets. There needs to be an element of competition. Can I win today? Is today going to be a better day than yesterday? Now, winning doesn't mean we need to win all the time. So for those that have played computer games or you play sports, you don't go out, and I play golf a lot. I don't go out every time. My expectations of winning or playing well is always there. But if I have a bad day and I lose or just don't perform as well, I don't just then go, oh no, that's rubbish, I'm going to give up. Actually, losing inspires us to actually achieve more. So if we've got a situation where we're always winning, then actually we become demotivated. So it's getting the right balance of enough success and enough failure, because failure drives us forward. Success gives us that feeling of achievement. Getting that balance right is key. And what we find within individuals is, while we've got all of these three things going on within our brains, some of us are a little bit more biased towards one or two as opposed to the third one. So for me personally, I've always been driven by performance and personal growth. These are the two that so I will spend hours studying something, learning something, and then going out and actually achieving it. Relationships is probably the weaker one for me, but I know when this one gets starved completely, then I do become demotivated. So if I focus too much on these two and I'm not enough on this one, it causes problems. So it needs to be in balance, but my balance will be different to your balance, will be different to each one of your team members' balance will be slightly different. So performance is about achieving goals. So have we got clarity in ourselves, what goals we're trying to achieve? Have we got measures of success along the way? And do we have autonomy to control that? Are we in control of our own destiny? So next level then is relationships. Are we having fun? Is there a social element of this? Is there a bigger purpose? Why are we doing it? If I'm going towards a bigger goal, then that limbic system, that feeling of actually being connected to something bigger than just myself, is going to kick in, and we're going to enjoy that. And from this is what we get oxytocins and serotonin from, those happy, bonding chemicals that our brains give off. So dopamine and endorphins are given off by this, achieving this. Oxytocin and serotonin are given off as we do this one. And then growth is about our mind. It's about learning, new skills and the ability to sort of, actually improve ourselves. Any game that you play, for those that you play computer games, if you got stuck at level 1, on, it shows how old I am, but on Donkey Kong or whatever the latest game, you're playing is, and you played that game, that level every single day at the same level, eventually you get demotivated. That's the beauty of computer games, is they've got different levels that you have to go up to actually motivate you and keep you playing the game. So are we growing in our organizations? Are we growing in our roles? Are we allowing our team to actually grow and see their path to being better in 2-3 years' time than they are at the moment? So these are the fundamentals, and nowhere in there says money. Okay, money is just a reward really for performance. It's a link to this one. People perform not because they're being paid, but that's almost like the reward for actually achieving it. The essence of this is in the pursuit of the goal, not necessarily achieving the goal. If we've got the Olympics coming up, only one person in each discipline is going to win a gold medal. Okay, so 98% of people that try are going to fail. But then you think, well, if that's the case, if they know they're going to fail or a good chance of failure, why would you actually turn up to the Olympics? Well, it's because what's driving them is the attainment of the goal of actually being at the Olympics, having a chance to win. But if they don't win, then they've still got that feeling they've actually gone and achieved something. But it's also meant that they've grown as a person. They've had to learn new skills. That's driven them on, and they're doing it within a team, in Team GB, etc., that bonds them together. And this is what a lot of the top sports psychologists are using a big time now, is the fact that people will give more for their team than they ever will for themselves. And that's what the army and the forces have always worked on, that people don't go to war for their country or for their family. Even they go to war for their team, their close comrades. And that's a real key to deliver on the relationship side. So you've got to think, well, what is motivating you? What of this do you need to do that gets you going? But actually look at each individual, because each individual is slightly different, and therefore work on what's best for them. So do we need to bring in awards, competitions, league tables, days out, cakes, Friday pizza? Is there a training program? Is there a personal development program for each individual? Is there a chance to travel, do different things in your organization? And what I find certainly in the SME market is the problem a lot of SMEs have is because they don't have big growth plans, and they hit a certain level and they stay static. Then because the company's not growing and achieving more, it means that the people in it aren't growing and achieving more. Now, they potentially won't leave because perhaps they're being paid well, or the risk, the downside is too great, but their motivation levels over time will gradually diminish. And you'll end up employing more people and getting less out of them just because, where's the excitement in this organization? So we've got to look at having a real critical sort of HR program around all of these three things. And it's tough in a small business because, as the MD, you've got 1,000,001 things to worry about. Actually focus on each of your individual team members to do this is going to be really tough. And if we talk about appraisals, bringing appraisals in, a lot of appraisals are just focused on performance. And to be honest, if you do appraisals once a year and you look at performance once a year, it's too late. Performance needs to be rewarded and picked up on in the moment, as it's actually happening day by day, week by week. We should be appraising performance. personal growth and relationships is the one that should be done in the appraisals. But again, waiting a year to do that, to me, is just too long, and we should be doing this at least once a quarter. Every 90 days, how are people growing? What's their personal plan for the next quarter? How are they fitting in with the team? And a cursory glance at their performance as well, because really this one drives this one. Performance is down. Do we need to train you? Do we need to bring you back up and move you forwards? So these days we can measure this stuff. This is the beauty with where psychology is going. Gone in the last 40, 50 years. We use a combination of DISC profiling, which is a behavioral profile to see what type of profile you are, and then we can break those 3 areas down into more detailed areas. I mean, this particular profile has got 7 profiles that break those 3 down into economic and individualistic power. These are sort of the performance drivers. Altruistic is more about the relationship driver. Theoretical is about the mind driver. So we can see here that what the norms are. This person is much more aesthetic, so it's more, they're going to be very much more motivated by the relationships than they are under power and economic. So we need to sort of work on our way to actually bring that person forward through that. So some really powerful tools that we can actually start to employ, and they're not expensive these days. To do this profile, is generally £100. But it gives the individual an insight to how they're motivated, but more importantly, you as their manager, how to actually motivate them. So once we understand, more about who they are, what motivates them, then we can start to look about how we actually manage them. Now, I have this little slide, I call it sort of, above and below the line. Down here in blame, excuses, and denial, is negativity. These people are really sort of, hard to manage. And it's really about what we call growing up. So down here in denial and sort of excuses is very much childlike behavior. When we get up into blaming, it's what I call sort of teenage behavior. And if we can get up to here to taking full ownership and being accountable and responsible for our own actions, then we've got adult behavior. So this is just a way that we grow as human beings. As that brain develops, we create more of the limbic system, more of the neocortex, and we get this sort of adult behavior. But if you can imagine managing people, managing a group of children, those of you who've got kids, imagine and I know some people have got care children's nurseries. Managing people down at this level is tough. You've got to be on it all the time. You're looking at these people, minute in, minute out. You can't leave them alone for 5 minutes. You're constantly making sure they don't do things wrong. And this is what I would call directing and managing, real managing, and it is hard work. And that's why, you're growing a business, it basically gets left, because what we want is to be able to lead and delegate adult behavior. Okay, this is easy. I come in on a Monday, I say, this is what we want to achieve. Everyone goes, yeah, that's great. I know what to do. Off they go. And then all I need to do is check up on the next week. So if I've got a team full of these people, leading and delegating to them is a piece of cake. Down here, if I've got these types of people, it's hard work. Now, the problem is this is great. People are generally, even the best people can suddenly come below the line and start excusing. The bit in the middle here is the bit that, as managers, we're not taught. Yeah, there's books on leadership, there's books on management, but the bit in the middle is where I think that we fall down. So for me, it's about really changing your mindset and say, look, I'm not a manager, I'm not a director of people. What I am is a coach. If we go into this with our team as feeling that we are their coach, then I think we get a much better outlook from them of what their expectations of us are, but also where we should be focused. So if we have a coaching mentality, then sometimes I need to manage and direct. Other times I need to lead and delegate. So I'm constantly moving between this direct approach and this indirect approach. And another way to look at this is really sort of these 4 quadrants here, that down here where I've got low trust in the person and they've got low skill, I'm actually having to direct and tell them, be on top of them all the time. So this is what I would be doing with childlike behavior. Over here is where I want to be and just delegate to them, let them get on with it, and get out of their way. Now, for a lot of managers, they start here, for the first month or so of the person coming in, and then they switch over to here very, very quickly and wonder why that person fails. The journey is through here. There's this ultimate sort of move into a coaching situation where we explain decisions, and we work with them. Then we move into a more supporting role where we're sharing ideas and facilitate. And then finally we move into let them get on with it. And as a coach, this is really what I do with clients. When they come to me, sometimes I need to tell them what to do because they just don't know. Other times I'm working with them, showing them how to do it so they can take ownership of it. Other times they're coming to me with ideas, and saying, this is what I think I should do. Is that okay? So they're looking for a bit of support and commitment, and also a bit of accountability as well, to make sure that, somebody's holding the account to actually achieving it. And at other times, I'm quite happy to just let them get on with it and off they go. But I'm constantly moving, when I'm coaching clients, around these 4 quadrants, and it could change on a week-by-week basis. So if we go into each of our team members, the people we're managing, with this approach, then we're going to get far more out of them, and actually I think enjoy the interaction a lot more. But what this does take is time, it takes commitment, and it also means that you have got to learn coaching skills and actually how to be a better coach of your team as well. So, but likewise, that will involve your growth. So you'll grow to be a better person. You'll be able to perform at a higher level. And your relationship with your team is going to be high. So you're going to hit all of those motivation buttons as well. So there's a big talk at the moment about how do we motivate millennials and Gen Z people, and the reality with this is it's no different. If we look at the sort of the different demographics, we've got the maturists, I'm part of the baby boomer sort of Gen X society, and we're moving up into the the baby boomers, which is my parents, Gen X, which is where I come in, Gen Y, which is sort of really classes the sort of the baby boomers, and then into the Gen Z times. So it really comes to the fact that we're no different. We are still wired the same. Our brains are still reptilian brain, limbic system, neocortex. But the society in which we've grown up is different. And the pace that we're learning and the pace that we're doing these things and the way we do things is all different. So compared to signature products for pre-1945 people, because it was new to them, was the automobile. For me, it was sort of TVs, computers. For Gen Z, it's different. So if I'm a sort of a Gen X manager, and I'm trying to sort of understand what Gen Z people are going to need, we are going to be slightly different in what we're doing, but the fundamentals of performance, of personal growth, of relationships is exactly the same. So what we've got to do is got to understand what it is for them around those 3 things. Don't change the three areas, but the individual specifics of it is going to be a lot more different. So my view with managing millennials is actually no different. You're managing individuals, and you need to find out what makes them tick, and get the best out of them, and then coach them to actually achieve that. But as I said, motivation is, to me, is very, very key, but you've got to balance this with the skills as well. It's the 2 of those. You develop more skills, develop motivation, and the 2 give performance. If you don't, then what can happen is you can actually get it wrong. And hopefully this little video will display to show you, if you've just got motivated people but without the skill, what can actually happen.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
So you can see there that just being motivated, but without the skill, doesn't always lead to great things. So as we don't, I normally was going to sort of do a little bit of a workshop with people and work on a few things, but with the YouTube, I can't get the interaction. But look, if anybody would like to do a motivation profile and a disc profile together, so the normal price of that is £100. If you come through, and you just email me or message me or get in touch via this workshop today, then I'm quite happy to do that at half price for you. And I would suggest you do it for yourself first, and then if you like it and you understand what's going on, then it's a really, really powerful one to roll out into your organizations. So what I'd like you to sort of think about going forwards is, score yourself on these three things. How motivated are you around performance, your spirit, and your sort of growth? What actions can you take? So what do you think you could actually put in? What would actually drive you more in each of those three things? And then, put a plan into action and then work on those. So do it for yourself first, and then you're in a much better position to actually do it with your team. If you want my support on that, there's my contact details, kevinstansfieldactioncoach.com. Give me a call. I'm on LinkedIn. Please do message me, and I'd love to help to actually take it forwards. So thank you very much for your time there, and for those that have joined, this has been recorded, Rachel, so you can always grab the recording, and I'm repeating this now at 1 o'clock as well.
12.
Sorry, 12 o'clock at 12. So yeah, if you did come halfway and you want to see the first start, and hopefully we've got the technical issues sorted out now, we can do that then. Excellent. So I don't know if there are any questions, Rachel, or what's best. I know Peter seems to be.
We do have Peter
come on.
in the room as well.
Welcome, Peter. Is there any questions, Peter, or have you come to the wrong room?
No, he's definitely coming to the right group. He's been messaging me. Peter's actually our speaker for 1 o'clock as well, but feel free to.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
hi,
can hear
Peter.
you.
I think it was a great process around the context of highly motivated and yet not really know what they're doing. And so thanks. It's so important to acknowledge how to best support a team, I suppose. And so thank you. That was really good.
Yeah, I mean, look, these are skills that we're not taught. I've had to study this for the past 15 years to boil it down into something as simple as as what I've got there. And I think we often overcomplicate things like this. And if you can just come back, those fundamentals, because that's how our brains are wired, then build your motivation platforms, build your team culture around those three things. And if you read this, I mean, Daniel Pink's Drive book relates to this as well. Everywhere you read comes back to these fundamentals. Excellent, good.
Yeah, super.
Okay,
Well,
well,
very much, Kevin.
thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks to Rachel and the team for putting on a good show, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, well, I'll be seeing you just before 12 o'clock.
Yep.
So what we'll do, we'll stop. Santosh would like to come in now. Maybe he wants to speak to you directly, Kevin.
I'm happy to stay
So have
on.
you met I don't know if you've met Santosh before. He's my MD.
Okay.
So although he's on mute, he might not realise he's on mute. I can imagine he's possibly popping in to see everybody. Santosh, can you hear us?
I can, Rachel. I can definitely hear you.
Super.
Hi, Santosh.
Hi, Peter. I was looking at your session, not completely fully, but, from the auditorium. So I thought probably I'll just quickly jump in now at this stage.
That's very nice. It's always difficult when you do these things to nobody there. With Zoom, I've normally got faces, and doing it to a completely blank audience is quite. I find it quite tough. So
I think, it's more kind of like, I was sitting in the auditorium, so going through your presentation, when you looked at that 4-quadrant which you had got, and those kind of things, I think it just, we don't know who is sitting over there at this point of time, because this is going to go live on the Facebook, but it is live on the YouTube as well. Plus we have asked all our people to just go into the auditorium at least and sit and watch over there. So it's more kind of, and plus once this is recorded now, this session will be going out after the show on every social media channel of ours to promote the business or the speakers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I think when we are addressing, I had my first one, and I think we had 2 or 3 people in the Zoom room, and then some people, they were trying to come later on or something. So it's kind of, when we are addressing, I think from speaker's point of view, if we address that, there are other people waiting. We don't know whether it is 1 person, 10 person, or 100 people, or 1,000 people. So we have to just address in that way. And
they say that when you do a big keynote speak to thousands of people, you do it as if you're talking to one person. So I don't mind, as long as one person's listening. and
that's the secret which is said, isn't it? I think you and me, we both know that whenever we are going and addressing these things, we have always talked in terms of you or a customer. So that if you say everyone, pretty much will lose the people anyway. But if you're just addressing you, yourself, themselves, then pretty much, I think we'll have more interest with the people. But well, good to have you over here. Really appreciate the effort and time, and hopefully you are enjoying the show. Are you having further sessions in next days or something? Or
I'm doing this talk at 12. So okay. I'm going to take a 5-minute break and then back, and hopefully we'll be slicker next time. So
and Peter, have you got stand as well?
Sorry, say that again.
Have you
it's Kevin that's just
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kevin. Kevin, have you got stand as well?
No, I haven't got a stand. No.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe from the speaker's point of view, if you can just look for the what we can do. Speak to Nax or Rachel. If you can just see if there is other way by which we can promote this session. Or the live recordings.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Peter? Were you here for the whole session?
So no, I didn't manage to get to the whole session. So I've just finished a live session that started at 9 o'clock this morning. So I finished at 11:30, and I was like, right, let's try and figure out what's going on. Let's go and see some people. So I managed to dip into to Kevin's where are we? Speak. And kind of catch the ending. But I love the video that he showed about the people trying to do star jumps. So I want to try and find that, because that's a comedy genius.
You missed the thriller one as well. I felt like I had to give it a round of applause. The thriller video, that was brilliant.
No, I think what we'll do, Kevin, I think at the maybe after the show, probably we'll just have a quick catch up once again, 1-to-1 with each other. And Peter, I would like to have another catch up with you as well. So probably what we can do, I think I'll just share my calendar diary or something, or probably just give you a quick call. Maybe someone from the team might give a call, and they can just look into my diary and just book it with us. Will that be okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Great. Yeah, because I think what we have, you guys have got as an action coach, you have got lots of strategies, lots of thinking, and we have got our franchising model as well, some other businesses. So we might just look if there is any synergy which we can do together, something somewhere, maybe including as a strategic coaching session over there or something like that. We have to little bit explore it over there.
Yeah.
Super. Yeah. So thank you for joining us, Santosh.
Kevin, thank you very much. Peter,
Good. See you soon.
Right, Peter, I'll see you in 5-ish minutes. Peter, feel free to stay on. Or I'll see you about an hour.
Yes. So I need to go and eat, because if I don't eat, I'm going to pass out, I think. It's so
I'm
hot.
going to grab a strong coffee.
That too.
I'll see you all in a bit.
Amazing. Kevin, good luck for your next session.
Lovely. And you, Peter. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
See you in a bit.